So anyway, that's my family and the lifestyle. For me. So how to build a successful Legalshield business. Obviously, there's a ton we could talk about involving that. At my story, again, 5 years, I spent 4.5 really selling the plan. And I sold 7,000 memberships in 4.5 years. And I wrote, it was about 200 plus groups, and made $1 million. In 4.5 years, I've earned over $1 million in the business. And then when I moved to Tennessee 20 years ago, I really, from that point forward, focused entirely on building a sales team. I haven't opened any groups in 20 years myself. But my team has opened hundreds and hundreds, thousands of groups, and I have a big team of group producers, mainly because I'm able to teach them, because that's what I did. But I like recruiting to the group market of people that go out and sell it as a benefit. But anyway, I built a team over the last 20 years, and that's what I've done full time. And so I want to really spend time right up front here why I build a Legalshield business. I've got one more slide I just want to show you. It's so hard not to. And I've built a few of them in here, so once in a while, those are two of my grandbabies there at a wedding. I mean, I could spend all day. I had to thin it down. I mean, I had like twice as many slides. I cut them down. My wife's like, why are you showing pictures of all this? It's like, I love it. They're so cute. So let's talk I need a person that maybe just got started. Anyone brand new here today? Okay, so can I pick on you for a minute? What's your name? Pamela. Okay, Pamela. So I'm just going to give you a choice here. You get to choose one. A penny. I'll give you a penny, but I'm going to double the penny every day for, let's just say, 30 days. So like tomorrow it's worth 2 pennies, the next day 4 pennies. Or I'm going to give you $1 million cash in hand right now. Which would you choose?
Oh, I like shiny things.
Okay, so the penny? Okay, so that's a good choice, and let me show you how it works. So after a week, that penny is worth how much? 64 cents. And that challenges a lot of people to think, oh, maybe I should have went with the million cash, because after a whole week, we only go in 30 days. And after a week, it's only worth 64 cents. You don't even have $1. I'm telling you, people ask all the time, why do so many people quit in this business? Right there is the answer. Because it takes a while to build this business, and after a week, you're only at 64 cents, so you're like, oh, I should have took the job. I should have took the security, the $1 million cash in hand. But after 2 weeks, it's worth $163, and we're halfway through. And so there, again, you can see why people quit, because it's not a lot of money compared to, you could have had how much in cash? $1 million cash in hand. But then this power of duplication and multiplication continues to work with that penny, because we're doubling it every day. And on day 28, it hits $1.3 million. That penny's now worth $1.3 million on that day. Day 29, it's worth $2.6 million. And day 30, it's worth $5.3 million, for a total of $10,700,000. And that's just one penny doubling every day for just 30 days. So you did a good choice.
All right.
You could have lost $9 million. Well, people made that choice of missing the big money and the security and the financial freedom all the time. If you're recruiting people in this business, people are going to skip the opportunity because they want something that's guaranteed. They want something that, they don't like taking the chance, And have you heard people say that? I need something that's guaranteed. I need something, is this commission only? That's one I hear a lot. Is this commission only? Well, I always answer, and if you heard me in the briefing, I always say it's better than commission only. It's a 12-month advance commission. No other company's doing that I know of. But they're going to give you a whole year of your commission up front. So where most companies are only paying you a month of your commission, we're paying 12 months of your commission to make sure that you have plenty of cash flow in starting your business. And then you can tell them the numbers. On a $49 plan, the top pays $280. That's how I explain the comp plan right there. On a $49 plan, the top of the comp plan pays $280. That's all I ever say. And then, because that's right? It's at the top, it's $280. I don't get into 60 and then 120 and all that, not over the phone and not talking to most people at the beginning. I just need to explain that's how it works. So if you sell 10 plans and you're at the top commission, it's $2,800. that you make. So I do a little math there to make sure they can calculate the financial security that advanced commissions provides. But that's my answer to that. But people are skeptical. People are nervous, and I understand why. Because you go back to that penny chart, after a week it doesn't look very impressive, and a lot of people would change their mind. Here's one I like. I need a guaranteed paycheck. I can't take the risk. I gotta have a guarantee. Well, here's what I've learned in my lifetime is the only guarantee of a job is guaranteed. If you have a salary, you're guaranteed never to receive residual income.
There you go.
So here's another, so that's one guarantee. So, and think about when we talk about the power, we have people that are earning $1 million a year in residual income. I mean, it's like the penny day. You lost a lot of money by taking the secure path, right? You lose $9 million in 30 days. And imagine if it continues to compound and continues to grow beyond that. Does that make sense? So the other guarantee in our business is, or not in our business, but in a job, is if you don't work, you won't keep a job. And it always puzzles me why people say, well, I need a guarantee. Well, guaranteed what? If you don't go to work, they're going to fire you, and you're not going to have a job. So there is no guarantee. The guarantee is you will get fired if you don't work. The guarantee in our business, if you don't work, you won't make money. But it's the same thing. If you don't work, you won't make money either place. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not trying to persuade you to quit your job, although I've done this full time for 25 years and done well with it. But I'm just saying it's an exciting opportunity to be a part of because you can build something that really can pay massive dividends in the future. And in fact, this is going back to when I moved to Tennessee, my last year selling Legalshield plans in 1999. This is just 1 month of commissions. So this is my actual commission checks for one single month.
Wow.
And just look at this last week, for example. Imagine, and people say, income's up and down, the commission, it's like that. It's like one day and it is like that. This is a good example of that. On Monday, I got a check for $4,900. That's a good check.
Yeah.
Have you ever spent a lot of money that you really shouldn't have, and then you're like, ugh. It's okay if you do that if you got this kind of cash flow, because the next day I got $9,000. So it's like, man, I probably shouldn't have bought that. Well, $9,000, it's okay. We're back in the black. And then the next day on Wednesday, $8,300.
Wow.
At some point here, you can't spend it fast enough.
Right, yeah.
And now this was the one that scared us. On Thursday, $3,000. My wife's like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. The bottom fell out. I mean, this is what people were talking about. Luckily, on Friday, I got a check for $7,000. But that's a $32,000 week, a $62,000 month. Not my best month. My best month's $138,000. But that's a pretty good month. This is adult money. If you were making $60,000 a month, could most of you pay your bills? So that's what we're talking about, financial freedom, and that's just an example, okay? And I know I'm joking around with the 3,000, but people, it's really true. People are scared about a business, but you're in control of this. You can control this. This is some overrides from my team, but mostly just selling the product. So when people are trapped in this rat race, it's kind of like I owe, so off to work I go. Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about this in the book, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. It's a great book if you haven't read it. But he talks about getting in this rat race where you have a job, right? And what do? You get paid in your job, and then what do you do with the money that you get paid? Yeah, pay your bills. How much of it? 110% in America. We're using a little more than what we got. And then we create some debt, and then we got to go, I owe, so off to work I go back to your job, and guess what? They pay you, and then what do you do with the money? Pay your bills, and then you're back to that's called the rat race. And he talks about, I'm not going to get in it today, but there's a formula to escape the rat race. I'll tell you the formula, but I'm not going to break it all down, but it's passive income is the secret ingredient. You got to develop passive income. Passive income's money you're making that's not tied to your time. It's like a one-time effort, and then you get paid on that. Like if you wrote a book, an author understands passive income, or a movie star, an actor or an actress, they make passive income. They do at one time. and then they get paid over and over on that in royalties. If you own an apartment complex, you build the apartment complex, you get it all done, and then you get paid on that year after year, month after month, right? You understand that's passive. 5% of Americans earn some form of passive income. Now that's good news, but it's also bad news because 95% of the people you know can't spell passive. I mean, they don't know, they don't earn passive income. Some people know about it, they don't earn it. 95% of people don't earn it. And it's the formula, it's the key ingredient to escape the rat race of life and become financial independence. Here's the formula. PI, passive income, greater than your monthly expenses equals financial independence. There's only one ingredient, passive income. And that's what I want to talk about today is developing better passive income. Passive income means you can make it, like you can sit on an island and drink lemonade and your money's still coming in. That's passive. Here's one thing that's very important to learn though. You do not get to sit on an island and drink lemonade to develop passive income. There's some people say, hey, I'm heading to my island. I'm going to get this income. No, that's once you have it, you can go to the island. It takes a lot of work to earn passive income. Here's how I was introduced to leverage, the word leverage, from my sponsor or mentor, one of my mentors, Dave Roller. He was sponsored also by Dave Sabula. Right. Excuse me, he sponsored Dave Sabula. He sponsored Dave Sabula in one line, and myself in another. His team was doing about 22,000 memberships a month. And Dave Roller would travel. I was out selling, right? I was working hard and selling like Adam. I was going and leaving early in the morning, go selling group, driving back. And I was making good money. And he would send me these postcards from all over the world. I mean, he'd send me a postcard from France. And then he said, I bought a home down here in Costa Rica. And I was thinking, I didn't even think we were in Costa Rica. And he goes, no, you can't sell plans down here. I don't sell plans. Well, I remember talking to him at a convention. And I said, Dave, he's making $700,000 a year in our business. Yeah, and that was as earned. And I'm thinking, how is he doing that? Not working. Like I was working. Like I was selling plans every day. I didn't make any money if I didn't sell. So I asked him, how's this work? How are you able to travel and send me these postcards from all over the world? And at the bottom of each postcard, he'd say, keep selling. And he'd say, hey, I'm in Paris, I'm in France for the next 2 months. Keep selling, Dave Roller. I mean, he'd really send me these postcards. I have a stack of them. And that was my motivation. That was my training. So I asked him one time, it was at a convention, it was maybe even backstage, and I said, how do you do that? How do you build passive income? I didn't know. I know that selling memberships as a group benefit was not passive. Right. Like I had to go to work every day. The only time you drink lemonade is on the way to an enrollment, but there was no passiveness about it. And he said, well, can you start maybe on a part-time basis? He says, can you take 10 hours a week and start building a team? Because that's what I've done. I've built this big team. They're selling 20,000 memberships a month, and that's how I'm making a huge amount of money. And I said, so he said, can you start building a team 10 hours a week? So that's a good question for everyone here. Can you just start part-time 10 hours a week? We're not asking to make a full-time commitment, just start part-time. Because I said, yes, I've got enough time. I was fishing 10 hours a week. So I knew I had 10 extra hours. Yeah. And I loved fishing. That was a hard thing to sacrifice. But I was like, yeah, I can start building a team. And he said, eventually, if you start working 10 hours a week, eventually you're going to have 10 people on your team. And that seemed realistic to me. He didn't say thousands. He just said you'll get 10 people. Okay, so this is when the magic started. He says now you're getting paid on 110 hours. 10 people times 10 hours. They're all working 10 hours. That's 100 hours, right? And then you're working 10 hours, so you're getting paid on their 100 overrides. Remember that word, overrides. And your 10 hours. So you're getting paid on 110 hours, but you're only working how many?
10 hours.
This like, I was like, hold on. What did you just say? You're going to get paid on 110 hours, but you're only going to work 10. This was a game changer for me. This is why I made the transition to team building. It's like, this is where the big money is made. So you develop that leveraged income because you only are working 10, but you're getting paid on 110. Who has a job here? All right, you got a job? Yeah, the cable sells? Okay, so if you work 10 hours, how much time do you expect to get paid for? 10 hours. See, that's the problem. That's where we're conditioned. I'm telling you, you got to change that today. If you work 10 hours, you better expect at least 110 hours of pay, or 200 hours of pay, or 300. There's days I get paid probably 400 or 500 hours in 1 hour. I mean, I've had huge checks, big, gigantic commission deposits, and it's off of leverage. It's leveraged income. It's building a big team that I don't even know everyone on my team. I love them all, but I see those reports. There's names on there I've never heard of before, but I love every person on that report. Anyway, that's how it works, and that's how you get that leverage. Does that make sense? I know this isn't new to you, but this is this is what should motivate you to keep calling, keep recruiting, keep inviting, keep bringing people out, because it just takes a certain amount of people. It doesn't take a large group. You have to have a lot of recruits, but you only need a few producers to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
The secret of the rich is to simply create assets that throw off money. Okay? And the secret of the poor is to become the asset of the rich. So either you're building your dream or you're building someone else's dream. It reminds me of the story that a rich man, he had a new employee at his office, and he said, "Hey, Ronnie, I'd like to show you something. Can I pick you up in front of the office?" So he pulls up in a beautiful car, Lexus, I think, or even a richer one than that. But he pulls up in this Lamborghini, that's what it was, and he invites the kid in. This is a new guy at the office, and he says, "John, I want to go show you something." And he takes him up to the hillside where all the rich houses are. And he pulls up to this gate. It's a locked gate, and there's a security guy, and he opens the gate, and he drives in this beautiful gated house. It's an estate, and there's gardens everywhere and beautiful trees. There's a tennis court, a big pool over here, and he pulls up to the gigantic house, and he says, "Hey, I want to show you something." He gets him out of the car. He takes him up to the hillside that overlooks the whole estate, and he said, "John, let me tell you, if you keep working hard and showing up for work every day and putting the time in this business, someday this will all be mine." That is what it feels like working for someone else. I mean, it's like, what are you doing? You're either going to build your financial future or someone else's. And if you're working for someone else and you're walking through the door in the morning and it's not your name above the door, you're building someone else's financial future. So the secret of the poor is become the asset of the rich. We want to break that today. I want to make sure that you understand that you want to be in the business of creating assets. You look at the 10 wealthiest people in the world. It's good to just pause for a minute and say, let's look at the 10, well, at least in the United States. These are the 10 wealthiest people in the U.S. The lowest one's worth, I don't know, 51 billion. Jeff at the top, 114 billion. But look at the number of employees. I know it's a little hard to see there, but that's the size of their network. I mean, Amazon, 647,000 employees. What am I trying to say? They've got a big network. It's not him going to work every day. See, some of us say, "I'm so frustrated. I'm going to work and putting all my time in, but I'm not getting ahead." Well, that's because you don't have the network. The richest people all have a massive network. This guy's got 144,000. This guy's got 100,000. Walmart, 2.8 million people going to work every day in that network. That's why he's worth $50 billion. I mean, it's just that, it's simple math. Rich people build networks. Okay. I love this quote from Warren Buffett. It says, "If you don't find a way to make money while you're asleep, you will work until you die." And one of those billionaires is Warren Buffett. He understands the power of building a network and building assets that throw off income. All right, your Legalshield business can create massive leveraged and passive income. That was my first message I want to make sure I got out. You're in the right vehicle. You don't have to go look for anything else. I don't know of any other business that pays more money faster than Legalshield.
Right.
And I don't know of a product that I would rather go market than Legalshield and ID Shield. So you're in the right vehicle. You just got to learn this business and get the skills required to have success. And I commend you for being here. You're taking time out of a Saturday. It takes a big commitment. Some of you drove a long time to get here today. And I commend you on that decision, because that's what successful people do. That's how people move to the top in our company, is simply learning what to do and how to do it. This is my mentor, one of my mentors, Wilburn Smith. He was earning $2.4 million a year. I was telling Jason Jensen, who drove up from Cookville with me today, I was telling him about, Wilburn used to fly to these events in his own private jet. This is me standing with his jet there at one of the airports. I think we're up in Knoxville Airport there. He flew in and do a little Super Saturday. He'd always carry a pocket knife with him and show, hey, I carried a knife on the plane. Don't stop. So they've never lost my luggage. It's my own jet, because they never left without me. I've never missed a flight because I own the plane and the pilots, But he created a great legacy and lifestyle, and when he passed away a few years ago, his family continues to earn today $2.4 million a year. The money continues to pay. This is just my passive income last year. So again, take me back 20 years ago. I didn't know what passive income was all about. I was selling a lot of plans. But this is just my passive income in 2019, a total of $687,000. And again, thank you. My wife was much more excited than that, but
we all should be.
So addition versus multiplication. Let's talk about that for a minute. Addition versus multiplication. There's a big difference, right? If you had 10 plus 10, how much is that? Yeah, you guys are great. I didn't know math had got up this far in Kentucky, but there's a little more complicated one, 10 times 10. Which would you rather have?
100.
Yeah, so what we're talking about today is the power of multiplication, the power of things compounding. See, it's not just you signing someone up. Sometimes we think about that. I got to sign someone up on my team. That's math. And if that was all it was, it wouldn't be very exciting, and there wouldn't be very rich people. And definitely people like me couldn't be wealthy. But it's because of the multiplication. It's because you sign 3 up, and then they sign 3 up. Here, let me show you a chart. And they sign 3 up, now you got 9. Now again, like the penny, it's not a huge number right up front, but those 9 all sign 3 up. In a perfect world, they don't all, some quit, but 9 sign 3 up, now you got how many? 27. Now you probably know them all still.
Yeah.
27 sign 3 up, and that's 81. 81, there's where it gets fun. They sign 3 up, now you got 243. And that's when you start losing track of their names.
Yeah.
It's like, now, who are you? I'm on your team. Welcome. I knew that, and you start losing track. And then the 243 sign 3 up, and now you got 729. And then this is crazy. 729 sign 3 up, now you got 2,000 people. 2,000 people now you're joining the big rigs. You got 2,000 people in your network. Someone, here's the guarantee, someone's going to sell something. People have a tiny network. They have 9 people or 27 people on their team, and here's the guarantee, most of those aren't going to do anything. Boy, I wish someone would have told me that. I'm serious. It's like when I started, it was like, go get a big team. That was the message. Okay. Well, I had a big family. I had 10 kids. So I figured I had 24 people on my team. That was a big team.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you this for your notes. 24 people is not a big team. No one told me that. I was like, man, I got a big team. I remember one month my team had sold 97 memberships. It was the 24 people. Here's the problem. How many did they sell? 97. I sold 94 of those. I'm like, you're kidding. That's impossible. The company is stealing my overrides. There's no possible way that my studs and studettes that I've put together, and I've worked very hard to get them, have sold 3 plans. I sold 94 myself. They have got to be taking my overrides. I remember that month I did an inventory of my team. I wanted to find how many sales they didn't pay me on. And I called every producer on my team. I only came up with 2 sales. So they had overpaid me by 1. I think they felt bad for me. They're like, well, he has a tiny team. Give him an extra sale. So I don't know how it happened, but I only got, I realized that. I'm telling you, this took a while, and psychologically I almost quit like a dozen times because it's like, I was like hard work. Like I was running over here and you say, hey, stay in the business. You're doing great. Man, you look good. You look good. you lie a lot sometimes in this business. It's like CPR. I mean, you are sweating, motivated, man, do it, come on, stay in. And, I see the potential in you, and then you just leave over here and you run over here and you're sweating like, and then you get over here and say, hey, no. And then he goes into cardiac arrest. Oh, I cannot do this thing. No. And it's like that back and forth, like running all month long. And then you get 3 sales. And you're like, why am I building a team? Because this is wearing me out. It was a less energy to sell 94 myself. And that is true. It's easier to sell it yourself. Building a team is hard. 24 is not a big number. Those are the concepts I want to make sure you walk away with. But here's what happens. That continues to compound, continues to grow. People bring on people. You keep it simple. You keep it duplicatable, and it'll grow away from you fast. You complicate it, which is very easy to do, it'll slow all growth in your entire organization. It won't duplicate away from you. You keep it simple, like you were saying about a system. You keep it system-driven, not people-dependent, and it'll grow to massive numbers where you can't count them. Your Legalshield business can multiply exponentially. I'll tell you the story of my mom. This is my mother, Dr. Judy Smith. I mentioned this earlier, but just signed her up. She was my first member, first associate. And I remember when her business started to grow, like she signed a few people up who signed a few people. I saw this happen in my mom's organization. And they signed a few, and all of a sudden I had, I think, 50 people in that organization. And it took a couple years to get to this point, but I was like, I only signed one person up, and now I already got 50 people in that team. And I wouldn't have had 49 of them without her in. So, and then it grew. I remember the time it hit 100. Most of it happened right over in Kankakee, Illinois, not far from here. It was up in Chicago area, south of Chicago. Kankakee had a big organization there, growing and building. And I flew up there to do a briefing once, and there was like 40 people in the room. And Mark Whitman was the market leader there. He eventually earned $1 million with the business and became a $100,000 earner. But he said, Mark, every person in this room is on your team.
Oh, wow.
And here's the cool thing. I only knew one person in that room. But there were 40-some people in the room, and there were guests signing up, and I started seeing, wow. And I remember when it hit 100 people, and then it eventually hit 200 and 500. And then a few years later, it was 1,000 associates in that one organization. Today, 25 years later, there's 7,000 associates in my mom's organization. And her organization has sold 250,000 memberships. She's a Millionaire Club member, a $100,000 ringer, and she has a 6-figure passive income because of Legalshield. Every one of these people are executive directors in her organization. There's the guy that was in Illinois, Mark Whitman, who joined and started that line. And there's Jim Tanner up in Boston, who's a $200,000 earner, a Millionaire Club member, part of that organization. He signed up Adam and Alicia Thompson down in that line, who are right here with us today. We got the laser light on both of them there. They're a $200,000 ring earner and halfway to the Millionaire Club member. Down in that line, another guy that joined is Scott Brooks. Scott, it's a $250,000. He earned $100,000 his first year, $250,000 his second year, $1 million in 5 years. All part of my mom's organization. This is Rebecca Baker. She was my number 3 producer last month in Bakersfield, California. And it has sold thousands and thousands of Legalshield. She's a big producer. Here's Gail Ross over in Indiana, I believe. Big producer, has written thousands of Legalshield plans. Here is Jim Crump out of Atlanta, a big producer, thousands of memberships sold. This is Kim Ferris. She sold 15,000 Legalshield plans in Buffalo, New York. She's on my 25th or 26th level. There's 25 people that came in before I got Kim Ferris, but she made $250,000 every year her first 10 years in the business. This is Dave Paperno. He'll be on our team call Monday. He's sold 20,000 personal Legalshield plans himself, and he's in Southern California. So from coast to coast, people that I had no idea about all came in this organization. And this is Kathy Haney, who's also a top producer down in Texas, all over the country. And these are just the executive directors in my mom's organization. There's actually others that are not here. These are just the ones that looked good. So we know now why we should want to build a Legalshield business, to develop this passive income, passive residual income, leverage our time, and escape the financial rat race. But let's talk about now how to build a business. Okay, can I spend the last 3 minutes on that?
Yes.
Are you doing okay?
Yes.
All right. So you've probably all heard all this before. Is this kind of the stuff you do? Wanting to earn a six-figure income or wanting to be an executive director or wanting anything is not good enough. I like this quote. This is my daughter, Kayla, with the catfish she had caught. If wishes were fishes, we'd all have a fry. So when I talk in big events, I say, how many of you want to make $100,000 a year? How many of you want a big team? How many of you want to do this? And almost everyone raises their hand. Because wanting it or wishing for it is not enough. So that's important to understand that that's good. It's a good first step, but that's not how you build a big business. Wanting something, in fact, here's one, the least powerful word is want. Everyone wants something. This is my son Josh at the Salt Lake City event. He's doing really good in the business. All right, not what they wish for and pray for do people get, but that what they justly earn. And underline it. You gotta earn it. Okay? Their wishes and prayers are gratified and answered only when they harmonize with his thoughts and actions. That's action. You got to do something, right? That's James Allen. As a Man Thinketh. Great book. If you haven't read it, that's another highly recommended book. As a Man Thinketh. It's a lot of it's just one right here. The greatest battle that we face every day is right here in our own heads. Yeah. Exposure is everything. So to simplify how to do this business, how to build a successful Legalshield business, is the main thing you have to worry about is exposure. Okay? That's what you can control. Have you ever glanced into a cockpit of a 747 and seen all the dials and buttons in there? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Like, I always get scared when I look in there because it's like, what if they pull the wrong lever? I mean, that's a lot of choices. And, what if there's a lot of opportunity to make a mistake. Well, sometimes when you join Legalshield, this is what our business sounds like. It's like we got this bonus and this incentive, and you move here and you move there, and you come here and you this event and that briefing and that training. And it's like, whoo. So I want to simplify it for everyone. There's one lever that matters in our business. It's labeled exposures. Exposures is all you have to worry about. If you want to, let's break it down. If you want to make more money, what do you got to do? Expose more people. If you want to have a bigger team, what do you got to do? Expose more people. It's simple. See, I've trained a whole army today. If you want to hit a higher commission level, some of you are down here, you see the chart every week and you're like, man, I need to get up there. What do you got to do? Expose more people. That's all you have to do. It fixes all problems, solves all issues that you might have. If you want to qualify for more incentive trips, we have some phenomenal trips. The Platinums go on a trip every year. We want more people to go on these trips with us. Here's just the last few trips I've been on with the Platinums. We went to the Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro for the Summer Olympics. Went to the swim. I saw Phelps win 2 gold medals myself. Like, I witnessed it. Like, they didn't ask for my opinion at the end of it, but they were like, I was there. Like, I got splashed on. We were in Rio at the Summer Olympics, part of these platinum trips. Here's in Barcelona, 2017. We're out on some big boat there in Iceland. That was freezing. And we were in Iceland. We went snowmobiling up on a huge glacier. And I hit a rock. Like, my mask was fogged up, and I'm flying. My wife's behind me, and there was a rock that's probably 2 foot high, like lava. And I hit that. It was all snow, so I didn't see it. But I flew. Like, no one got it on video, but somewhere behind me, they said I was 10 foot in the air on my snowmobile. I didn't do it on purpose. I was praying that I would land. But I finally landed, and I turned around and I said, Did you see that? There were several behind me. I'll always remember that trip. I didn't even see the rock. But Malta, we just got back from Malta, and my wife and I always extend, like in Iceland, after that we went over to Ireland and Scotland and spent another week. And in Malta we flew into Rome and spent another week in Rome. We just love spending time together. And we know we got kids back at home.
Right.
So it's like, we can extend the trip. But I didn't know Malta was a place or a country, you know. Some of these have to look up and Google. Okay, if you want more time freedom, expose more people. And it is the solution. It's the only lever you have to worry about. So sometimes you say, well, this is so complicated. Really just fix it by exposing more people. Whoever exposes the most will recruit the most. And whoever recruits the most will eventually develop the most leaders. And so, again, exposure is the root of that. It's what fixes it. It's what drives all the others. To have the dreams desired, you must sow the seeds required. And that word sow is an action word. You got to go out and do it. You can't expect your ship to come in if you don't send one out. You got to go put some work into this business. It is about work. It is, but it's worth it. Think about having the financial freedom that you hear so much talked about in our business. It's worth sowing seeds. It's worth recruiting. It's worth sending videos. And I send out a lot of videos. On an average week, I'll send over 1,000 links to people. So people say, how did you recruit 7 people? I sent out 6,000 video links last month. And out of 6,000 people that I sent a link to, 7 of them joined. So most people do not join. Now, some of those probably didn't even get my link. But I sent out a lot of links. I sent out a lot. Like last night I went to dinner. What did I do? I sent a link. I CC'd Jason on that, right? You got an email. It was like 9 o'clock at night. I sent it. I forget. I don't, if I go to bed, I'll forget. So I send it out. I mean, I do it all the time, every day, all day. I'm always exposing people to the business. So what is an exposure? Well, we train on that, but it's introducing someone to either the membership or the opportunity. And it doesn't matter which you start with first. You can lead with the membership or lead with the opportunity. I tend to lead with the opportunity because I think people like to make money more than spend money.
Right.
But there's not a right or wrong. You get to choose. Like I was on a cruise ship, and every person on this cruise ship down in the Bahamas was a millionaire with Legalshield. They had to earn $1 million or more with this business. Every person. And we were sitting in this huge hot tub. And I remember sitting there. I was young in the business. I was only in 5 years in the business. And I remember listening, and they were like, here's how you do this business. And here's how you do this business. And you lead with the membership, and you lead with this, and you lead with that. Here's the cool thing. There were about 20 of us, and there were 20 different ways. I learned from that. I was like, well, there's not one way. There's about 20 ways on that one boat. I'm sure if we went down that level, we'd have another 200 ways. I mean, it really doesn't matter. What matters is you can't really say the wrong thing to the right person. Now, you can move your mouth too much without using the tool. I always use the tool. I always use a video because it's easy, it's consistent. I don't want to take my time. The worst thing you can do is spend 15 minutes with someone telling them about it, and at the end of that 15 minutes, they say, I'm not interested, which a lot of them will, most of them. You just wasted 15 minutes, like total wasted. So I'm very careful about that. I want to waste time. I want to protect my time. So the tool is nice because at the end of that, if they're interested, they'll respond. Okay? Okay. We'll talk more about that. There's some of the tools that we talk about at Fast Start Trading. Got the videos, social media, websites, 3-way calls, events. Just like this, you had an event today that you could bring guests to, and some of you did. Some of you took action, did that, and this is a great way to build your team. Is have guests every single time we do an event. This next event was Sean Michael, one of my favorite trainers in all of Legalshield, is going to be here March 14th. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean March 14th, right here in this room. Did I get the date right?
Yes.
That Saturday. Okay, and you can get tickets today for that event. $15.
Indianapolis.
Oh, in Indianapolis. It's in Indianapolis, and you can get the tickets today, though, right?
Yep.
And they're $15.
Yep.
And you can get up to 4 of them.
You can get up to 4, 2 for 25. Today, special only.
2 for 25.
2 for 25. Isn't that great?
That's crazy. Golly. Okay. So you can build. That's how you build. That's how you get those 4 tickets, and you get 3 other people to go with you to that event. You can't control who becomes a member or an associate. You can only control how many exposures you make. Here's my granddaughter, Lily. Establish a daily exposure goal. So you got to come up with a daily goal of what you're going to do. I do 6,000 emails a month, 6,000 emails a month. That's kind of my goal. That's how I recruit my own personal recruits. You can come up with any method you want, but you got to have a daily exposure goal set up and meet that goal. Where to find prospects? This is a common thing. People say, well, where'd I go? It's kind of like anywhere. Like everyone. Like the warm market is where I would start. People you know. Make your list. Sort it. Expose them. 3-foot rule. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
You get within 3 foot of someone and talk to them about the business. Or the fog the mirror test. You can take a little makeup mirror. And if they fog the mirror, expose them. If they don't fog the mirror, call 911. They're not breathing. I love the 5-foot rule. I didn't put up there, but you know the 5-foot rule? Get 2 foot closer, then apply the 3-foot rule. Like you don't run from people, you approach people. This is your financial free future. I mean, there's a lot at stake here, and you don't know who they know. Like when I see, it's like the Matrix. You know, at the end of the Matrix, remember the Matrix movie? And at the end, he saw the Matrix, and he was able to dodge all the bullets and crush them in his hand, all that because he saw he saw the whole thing. That's kind of how I look at this business after 25 years. Everyone's a prospect. But not only a prospect, they're a link to another link, who links you to an executive director. And if you start saying, well, that guy's not a leader, he's just a link, good. You need lots of links. Like to get Dave Paperno, I had 25 links link me down to Dave Paperno. 20,000 sales. You need the links.
Yeah.
They're just as valuable. Like I kiss them, I hug them. It's like I know you're not a leader, but you're a link. You're linking me to other things. You know, I really don't say that because everyone starts as a link. We develop into leaders.
Right.
So links and leaders I could do a whole hour on that. 3-foot rule, referrals, that's a big one, getting referrals from someone. Like a person says, well, I'm not interested. No problem at all. Do you know of anyone that would be interested in earning an extra $100,000 a year part-time? Or do you know of anyone, keep it a little smaller, do you know of anyone that would be interested in earning an $800 bonus that we're offering our new associates? Just keep it real simple. And just ask that to every person that declines, and then you're like hoping someone will turn you down. You can use your referral line. Hey, do you know of anyone? It always makes them feel a little stupid.
Right.
You don't say it in a stupid way, but you just say, hey, do you know of anyone by chance that would be interested in earning an extra $800 bonus we have available? Oh, no, you never said nothing about that. A lot of times they'll come back, but you don't care if they come back or not. It just makes you feel better.
Right.
When they go away feeling stupid. Like I was on a plane once, and this guy was like, well, so you're working for this company. He was telling me about his great job, and I said, so if you stop selling today, do you still get paid on the work you've done? And he goes, no. And I said, are you getting a percentage of all the sales made by the company? He goes, no. I said, you're double stupid. I said, there's a lot better deals than that out there. Like in our company, we pay you a percentage of everyone in your team every month, and we pay you a residual on every plan. I mean, we have a better deal than most people have. I didn't really say that. I advertise. Early to bed, early to rise, work real hard, and advertise. Let people know that you have an opportunity. And there's a lot of different ways to advertise. And I'm not talking necessarily an ad in the newspaper. You can put out flyers, you can hand out business cards. I don't hand out a lot of stuff, I gather a lot of stuff. Like I need their cell number. I need their email address. Those are the two things I need from people. I can give them my card, but if you're just in the mode of handing out cards, you're not going to get many people to call. The odds of them taking that card and taking that website that might be on it and getting that back in front of a computer is almost zero. The successful team builders are not handing out cards or stuff. They're gathering phone numbers and gathering emails, and then you send them a link. Like if I send Alicia a link to a website at her email address, the odds of her clicking that are 900 times greater than if I gave it to her on a piece of paper and she had to type it in somewhere. Like it hardly ever gets back. It's like a bottle thrown in the ocean. Most of them never come back to anywhere. I don't know what happens to them, but they're not found. That's kind of a dumb analogy anyway, but it's not like that happens a lot. But where to find prospects? Okay. So, I already did that. Okay. Legalshield Baseball. You've all heard of this. I keep it really simple. But first base, what is it? Exposure, right? So exposure is everything. And this is our business, how to do our business. I expose people, okay? And I've talked to you about that. It's getting people to the information, and you can do it as many times as you want. Here's the cool thing. It used to be like we had this brick, which was $8 and it had a VHS tape and a brochure in there. And we spent $8 to give someone a brick. Like, some people were like selling them to their prospects, or they would like loan them out. You know, like you gotta loan them, you gotta get a deposit down. I mean, but it was a big investment. Like, who are you gonna expose today? I don't know. I only got one brick left. I'm gonna choose it wisely. That's how we build our business initially. Then they came out with a $3 DVD. It was like 9 days. Like, oh my gosh, $3 to hand a DVD to someone. Then eventually we had a $1 DVD. We had a magazine for about $1 and a DVD. We put them together. It was like $2 exposure. Man, it was like game over. We brought on hundreds of thousands of associates. Then something happened. The internet improved. Websites became more popular. And now you can just send someone to a website link. But guess what? Exposures went down in the company. How much does it cost to send someone to a website? It's free. You'd think it would have gone 10 times. Because it's free now. Like, did you know that it's free to send someone to a website? And it does the same thing the DVD does. It's the exact same thing. But here's the thing, I think it was we had inventory. Like, we had 100 DVDs. And I had an auto ship, and they were going to send me another 100 on the 10th of every month.
Right.
And like the 5th, I was like, man, I got to get rid of this 100 DVDs. And I was on like 400 or 500 a month. And I was motivated to get out my DVDs. Like, we were handing them out. Like, you'd go to an airport, and on the baggage claim, there'd be a DVD. Hey, there's a Legalshield DVD right there. People just getting rid of their, you'd go to use a payphone, there was a DVD sitting there, I'm serious, they were everywhere. Like, you saw them everywhere. And today, we've got out of the practice of massive exposure, but massive exposure is the secret, and it's free. And what's great about that is you don't have to invest much money. It's free. Like a dog with a note. As long as the note's got a website on it, could build a massive team in this business. So first, successes are in the fear zone, not the comfort zone. I shared that earlier. Second base is follow-up. So our job is to poke them and see if they bleed. Don't get it confused with poke them till they bleed. We're not in the people attacking business, right? We're in the people attraction business. So some people get that confused. Like, I've called this guy 100 times. Whew. You need a new guy. You're going to go to jail. People do not like bug. You're bugging. 100 is a lot of follow-ups. Okay. I've given this guy every video we have. You're in the people attacking business. You got to be in the people attracting business. You can send him multiple videos, but not all the videos we have. Be selective, okay? And, we're not in the convincing business. A person convinced beyond their will is of the same opinion still. So we're not trying to convince. Professional sort. The fortune's in the follow-up. Where's my picture on? There it is. Professional sort, amateurs convince. Okay? It's like sorting red apples from yellow apples. I mean, just sort. That's all we do. We're not, we poke them, see if they bleed. That's what we're doing on this exposure. Okay, so second base is follow-up, where we take their temperature. I love that term. We just take their temperature. You had a chance to watch the video? No. What do? Invite them to go watch the video.
Right.
In the follow-up, you're saying, did you watch the exposure video? No. People say, okay, well, let me tell you about it. Wrong. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Talk about what? They didn't watch the video. There's nothing else to talk about except go watch the video. You need me to text you the link again. You have 15 minutes to watch that video because I want to follow up with you, but I can't take your temperature if you haven't watched the video. Right? It just kind of, you can even think that through in your own mind. There's nothing next to, like, you don't go to third base. Did they do that in baseball, like run from first to third? I mean, some people do, but it is not a point. You don't score that way. So second base is follow-up. Third base is validation. Third-party validation, here's a list. Three-way calls, another video, that's what I use. First step training, I mean, whatever, any kind of exposure to information that's gonna help them move through the process a little more and understand the business. And then home base, in my running the bases, is enrollment. You know, enrolling them as a member, enrolling them as an associate, and helping them get positioned. And that could be at an event. It could be an event like this, or a weekly briefing, or PBR, or a Zoom conference. I mean, Timmer, there's like the master of internet. I mean, I could just build my whole business learning from him, but he does a lot of exposure with his team. He's got probably the best communication system in the whole company. So it's exciting to have you here today. Thank you, Timmer. Remember, you're kind of looking for aces. So in a deck of cards, there's 52 cards. And how many aces? 4, yeah. So your job, you're just sorting through the deck, trying to find your 4 aces. Now that's how we do it. We sort through to find the 4 aces. Once you get 4 aces out of the deck, if what you're looking for is aces, then should you pick up that deck again and go look again? No, because you've already got out of that deck the 4 aces. Some people say, well, I'm going to go back to the same deck. Well, I'm not talking about follow-up here. I'm just talking, there's a time to move to the next deck, you know. Get some more prospects in your pipeline. Talk to more people. Sometimes you'll find a joker, and they're the ones that say, yeah, I'll watch the video. And then they don't watch the video. They make commitments, but don't keep their commitments. There's a lot of people like that. Or you got a little, 2 of spades, and you're sitting there going, you can become an ace, you know, and you're in like the personal development business, but you're trying to personally develop your 2 to make them an ace. And while you're doing that, someone's recruiting all the aces. And guess what? If you train a duck, you're going to have a trained duck. You're not going to have an eagle. Now, I know that kind of defiles personal development, improving people and growing people, because I believe in that. But be careful about spending too much time with people that don't ever learn this business or do this business or are disciplined. Hopefully they change, but be careful that you're not spending all your energy there when you could be out exposing new people and building your fortune. And if you get a good system put together, then you don't have to waste time, because you can just plug them into the system. Plug them into the team conference calls, plug them into the events. And I think right now we've got a phenomenal system within Legalshield that all of us can build our businesses with. In reality, it just takes it takes a lot of exposures to get an associate. I mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
And that's something important. You got to understand. It takes a lot of exposures to get one associate, and it takes a lot of associates to get a producer. Kind of sad, but some people don't do anything. Some people join. They just join the $99 club and never do anything. But here's the good news, is it only takes a few producers to earn a significant amount of money.
That's good.
So you don't have to have thousands of producers. Let me give you an example. If you just have 4 associates on your team writing group sales, let's say they're writing 50 memberships a month, 4 of them writing 50 memberships a month, you'd make $100,000 a year. And you got to make 4 calls at the end of the month. Good job, John. Good job, Susan.
Right.
Good job, Shelley. I mean, that's it. That's your job. What else do you do? I just call those 4 people. I'm serious. I've seen this play out a lot. Here's another one. If you have 25 associates on your team, that's not a lot, and they're just selling 5 memberships a month, you can make $100,000 a year. Isn't that exciting? 25 associates. Just a little team, and they're only selling 5, just like Performance Club qualifying. And you're making you're making a 6-figure in overrides, and you got to make more calls at the end of the month. 25 calls, but hey, it pays you $8 grand a month, $10 grand a month. So it doesn't take a lot of people to make a lot of money in this business. A small group of producers is really what you're looking for, and you can make a fortune on that team. I remember one month, I'll just share this with you. I printed out, this is 10 years ago, but I printed out I didn't print out the whole production report, but there were 507 pages of associates. It's like 40 per page. So I don't know what it is, but it was 507 pages of producers or people in my team, associates. This is important. This might scare a person, but just hear me out, because this is kind of advanced training here. I only printed the first 7 pages because those were the only ones that wrote a sell that month. And 500, I put a ream of paper under it, but I didn't print it. It looked like I'd printed it. I said, this is my this is my team, and there's 507 pages here, and then I took off the 7 pages, and these are the only producers. 500 pages of zeros, like associate 0, associate 0. The reason I share that is you might have a team right now, and you might be looking at them, and next to their name's a 0. And I'm just telling you, if you could get a few thousand of those, you will be so rich. I mean, you're on your way, but you don't have enough zeros. You got to get like 500 pages of zeros. Like, be excited when someone doesn't do anything because you're on your way. Like, I have a huge stack of that. And out of those little 7 pages, the last 3 pages were all 1 sell. That whole month. It's a month. I used to say, I don't want people that write 1 sell. Well, I changed that once I got 3 pages, though. It's like, those are nice. That's like a lot of people, a lot of cells, you know. It's like 200 cells coming in from 1 each, you know. And then, you know, then the big producers up front. But I'm telling you, it doesn't take a lot. I mean, 3 pages of people that are writing maybe 3 or 4 cells. I mean, it just doesn't take a lot, but you're going to have a lot that don't do anything. And that's okay. You're on track. You're building. That's how our business builds. And you're just 1 recruit away from your next explosion. That's a picture of Jim Tanner and his wife, and my wife down in Iceland, or up in Iceland last year. Remember, Zig Ziglar says you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, and you must expect to win. My granddaughter Lily again, with her Dream Big outfit I bought her. Your success depends on what you settle for. Don't settle for table scraps when you can own the whole palace. In this business, you can own the whole palace. There's a fortune at your fingertips right now in this business, and I challenge you to grab it, to get it, to take the bonuses and the incentives and all the things that Legalshield's put on the table and take full advantage of every part of that to grow your financial freedom. Never give up. I love this little picture. It hangs in my office. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. You know, people, you know, a man walked by a furniture store one day, and in the window of the furniture store, he saw a sign that said, "Finishers wanted." Now, I'm sure in the furniture business, there's a great need for finishers, but isn't that a sign that could apply anywhere in life?
Right.
Finishers wanted. The world has an ample supply of starters, but a finisher is a rare breed. And one of my closing thoughts here is don't quit. It doesn't matter. It's a tough business. You're going to have some hard times, but the key is that you're here. And you're not a quitter, you're a winner. You're here. And so keep winning. Keep showing up. Invite your team to show up. Most of your team won't show up. That's okay. That's all part of the plan. Keep showing up yourself. Do not quit this business. It's okay. It's okay if you don't figure it all out your first year or your second year or your third. You'll figure it out. Keep showing up. Hopefully today I've shared some thoughts with you that will help you in growing your business and taking it to the next level. I appreciate so much the